Bienvenue à tous. Welcome to our international press review here on France 24. Chris Moore is the man in the chair. What have you got?
Well, Mark, as you were hearing in the news there, the big news today is this shock report on Iran's nuclear capability. Only a few weeks ago, President Bush was talking about avoiding World War III, and now it seems, according to a US intelligence report at least, that Iran's capability is not what we thought. That's providing food for thought for the big US papers this morning. The New York Times has a great analysis piece by Stephen Lee Myers. He really talks about where this leaves the Bush administration. And he says, and I quote, "Rarely, if ever, has a single intelligence report so completely, so suddenly and so surprisingly altered a foreign policy debate." And that's a theme that we see throughout the US media this morning. In the Washington Post, they talk about relief, really, amongst US congressmen who were pushing for this report to be released early, and fears from US congressmen that this report was being manipulated by Bush and the US administration. And the Washington Post really sees this as the intelligence community asserting its a new willingness really to be politically independent, especially after allegations that intelligence over the Iraq war was manipulated. Moving into the Israeli press, now Haaretz, the paper there, an analysis piece by Shumel Rosner, says that this leaves Israel embarrassed. Only a few days ago this weekend, in fact, the Israeli ambassador was in Washington talking up the threat posed by Iran. Israel's obviously been at the forefront of talking up the threat posed by Iran, or he's getting Washington to do so, and he says that this leaves Israel really with egg on its face. He also has an interesting take on this Iraq intelligence debate, looking forward to the arguments that might come out, particularly from the Israeli right in the coming days, saying, look, the Israeli right might say, look, we didn't believe you were wrong on Iraq, why should we believe you on Iran?
Interesting stuff, and obviously very, very important in terms of the world view. What's next, Chris?
Sarkozy in Algeria, a story that's been rumbling on for the last few days. The French president over there, of course. Now, of course, Nicolas Sarkozy went to Algeria, saying that this trip was all about business. The Algerian press, politicians, and even the Algerian people won't let the colonial history between the two countries lie for Sarkozy. They want some kind of apology. So yesterday, Sarkozy said the colonial system was profoundly unjust, and the Algerian paper Liberté leads on that. So he's obviously really responding just to the pressure that was put on him to say that.
Has he said sorry?
Well, he says the colonial system was profoundly unjust. You can interpret that as you want. It's not like President Chirac saying sorry to various former French colonies.
Said, "Je suis désolé."
He's not saying désolé, but he is saying, I acknowledge that there are concerns and I'm not just going to talk about business anymore.
So, no change of policy there from Sarkozy?
Absolutely not, no. Okay. But the Algerian press keeping up the pressure. El Watan led with a very sort of anti-Sarkozy editorial yesterday. They've got an interesting story on their front cover now, which I suspect they've been sitting on for some time, about the effect that mines left during the Algerian War of Independence by the French army are still a scar on the Algerian landscape today. They still pose a very, very big danger to Algerian people, and really just sort of highlighted the fact that colonialism is a tangible thing that still exists today. So please say sorry, Nicolas Sarkozy.
OK, go to your final story, please. We've got no time left.
Die Welt, the German newspaper, says that Microsoft has finally acknowledged that its Windows Vista operating system was developed in conjunction with the US security services. Now, obviously, the official line there is that it's going to improve your security on your home computer, but it's also potentially going to let the US security services look at what you're doing. And obviously, a rising debate there on the way that internet service providers and computer service providers can potentially look at what we're doing online and even at home.
Scary stuff. And of course, we learnt the German Web Security Services Geheimdienst, which
I knew that.
Sounds fantastic. Chris Moore, thank you very much for that international press review. You're watching France 24. Stay with us.